What would you do if a tabloid exposed your most desperate secret right after you fell in love with the only person who could destroy you? Emily Bennett was a struggling single mother willing to do anything to save her daughter's life. One night, one transaction. That was all it was supposed to be. But that single night with billionaire Grant Holloway turned into something no one saw coming, a chance at redemption, a glimpse of love and a storm of betrayal that could shatter everything. Just when Emily dared to believe in hope, her truth exploded across the internet. Branded as a high-class escort, humiliated before the world, she was cast out of the life she had just begun to build. Grant, torn between trust and fear, let her walk away. But this isn't just a story of scandal, it's a story of survival, transformation, and two hearts brave enough to find their way back. If you think you know how this ends, think again. Stay with us because the most powerful moment is yet to come. Have you ever made a choice so desperate, so raw, that it carved your soul in two, and yet you'd do it again just to save someone you love? Emily Bennett never thought her life would come to this. A single mother in a cramped Brooklyn apartment, she juggled two sewing jobs while raising her 8-year-old daughter Sophie, who had the kind of smile that could melt steel. But behind Sophie's brave grin was a fragile heart that couldn't keep up anymore. The doctors had been clear without surgery, soon her daughter might not make it, and the price $20,000. Emily sat on the edge of her twin-size bed one night, the city humming beyond her window, while Sophie slept peacefully beside a tattered stuffed bear. Bills scattered across the floor like autumn leaves. The numbers blurred as Emily's eyes welled up. It didn't matter how many dresses she stitched or uniforms she delivered across the Upper East Side. There was no way she could make that kind of money in time. That's when her phone buzzed. Rachel Green, her best friend since high school, the one person who knew just how many nights Emily had cried into her threadbare pillow. "How's Sophie?" Rachel asked gently, bringing over a takeout bag and cheap wine. Emily broke down. "I'm out of time, Rachel. I'd sell everything I own, but it still wouldn't be enough." Rachel hesitated. Then, almost like confessing a sin, she said, "I know someone. Her name's Veronica Blake. She runs a service. Not what you think. No sex, just high-class companionship for events. They pay thousands for a single evening." Emily stared at her. "You want me to be arm candy? I want Sophie to live," Rachel said softly. 2 days later, after watching her daughter hooked to heart monitors in a city hospital, Emily dialed the number. She'd never forget the office. Sleek, cold marble floors and curated elegance. Veronica Blake was all designer confidence, mid-40s, poised and clearly used to power. "You have the look," Veronica said, appraising her like a sculpture. "With the right dress and styling, you'll blend in perfectly." "I don't want to blend in. I just need the money," Emily replied. Veronica's lips curled. "That's what they all say at first." She slid a tablet across the glass desk. On the screen, Grant Holloway, 38, tech mogul founder of Holloway Innovations, attending a benefit gala this Friday. Needs a companion. Pay $2,500. One night, Emily stared at his photo. Chiseled jaw, piercing eyes, no smile. "Do I have to talk to him?" "You'll do more than that," Veronica said. "You'll charm him. Be elegant. Be who he needs you to be." The evening of the gala arrived with a storm warning. Emily had never worn a gown worth more than her monthly rent. The navy silk dress Veronica loaned her fit like it had been made for her soul, not her body. Her hair was swept into a graceful bun by a stylist she'd never met. She barely recognized herself. A man in a sleek suit met her in the hotel lobby. "Miss Bennett, I'm David Coleman, Mr. Holloway's assistant." He led her through the golden corridors of the Four Seasons Hotel to a private suite where Grant Holloway stood by a floor-to-ceiling window, backlit by city lights, talking on the phone in a voice like smoke and steel. He turned. His eyes met hers. No handshake, no smile, just a quiet, calculating stare. "You're Emily." "Yes. And you're Grant." "Let's be clear," he said, his tone cool. "Tonight is about appearances. Nothing more." "Understood," she replied, keeping her chin high. He blinked, surprised. Not many people matched his energy. But Emily wasn't here to impress, she was here to survive. As they entered the grand ballroom, Grant leaned in. "This is a charity event for children with heart disease." Emily's breath hitched. Seriously, why no reason, she lied, gripping her clutch tighter. Under the chandelier's light, Emily moved like a swan. Grant introduced her to billionaires, hedge fund wolves, and tech giants, always keeping her near. She noticed how everyone deferred to him. But what struck her most was the loneliness behind his charm. No one truly saw him. At one point, a guest asked how they met. Through mutual friends, Grant said effortlessly. Emily's an incredible eye for design. She looked at him, startled. I studied fashion design, she added quickly. I now do alterations and private commissions. Don't downplay it, he murmured later. You lit up when you talked about it. For a moment, the noise of the room disappeared. After the dinner, they danced. You're a good dancer, she said. You're full of surprises, he replied. They talked more than expected. About dreams, loss, pressure. He mentioned a sister he hadn't spoken to in weeks. She confessed she hadn't slept through the night since Sophie got sick. Then came the moment. In the back seat of his sleek black car, instead of handing her an envelope, Grant said, I need a personal stylist. Someone who won't flatter me, who actually has taste. Triple the pay, weekly. Emily blinked. Is this a joke? No. I saw the way you analyze those tuxedos. You have talent. I don't care about your background. I care about results. Her heart stuttered. Why me, she asked. He looked her in the eyes. Because tonight, for once, someone treated me like a person, not an empire. Emily stepped out of the car that night trembling. Not from fear or guilt, but from a deep, terrifying hope. She had entered the evening as a mother desperate to save her child, and walked out as someone who just might have found a door she never expected to exist. And yet, something about Grant's gaze lingered with her. Something dangerous. Something real. I'm so sorry to pause the story here just when it's getting intense. But let me ask you, do you think Grant truly meant his offer? Or is there something else behind his sudden interest in Emily? What would you have done in Emily's place? Accepted the money or walked away? Also tell me, which country are you watching from? And if this story moved you even a little, please tap that heart and give us a like to help share this emotional journey with others. Emily Bennett never meant to fall for him, but hearts have a way of writing their own stories even when the brain pleads for caution. The weeks that followed, the gala blurred into a whirlwind. Emily, now officially hired as Grant Holloway's personal stylist, found herself navigating a life she had never imagined. From penthouse closets lined with suits worth more than her entire apartment, to lunch meetings with fashion elites, she was suddenly standing at the edge of a world that once felt like fiction. But it wasn't the clothes or the luxury that shook her most, it was Grant. He wasn't who the tabloids painted him to be. Yes, he was intense. Yes, he was ruthless in boardrooms. But behind closed doors with her, there were moments when his guard dropped. He'd sit on the edge of his desk, sipping black coffee, asking about Sophie's favorite cartoons, or whether Emily missed sewing for real people. And in those moments, she saw him, not the billionaire, but the boy who'd lost his parents young and carried the weight of success like a shield. Sophie, meanwhile, adored him. The first time Grant visited her in the hospital, she stared at him wide-eyed, then asked, "Are you the man who made mommy wear the shiny dress?" He laughed, guilty. "And are you rich?" Grant glanced at Emily, then smiled. "I have money, yes. But your mom's the one with the real magic." From that day on, Sophie called him Mr. G. One night after dinner on the balcony of his Manhattan penthouse, the city lights sparkling like scattered diamonds below them, Grant made her an offer that twisted Emily's heart. "I have a beach house in the Hamptons," he said casually. "You, Sophie, me, a weekend away. Fresh air would be good before her surgery." Emily froze. The lines were blurring. Boss, friend. Something more. "Grant, that's too much," he asked, reading her hesitation. "No," she whispered. "It's just, I don't know where we stand anymore." He stepped closer, his voice low. "Neither do I, but I know I want to find out." The beach was like something out of a dream. Sophie ran barefoot in the sand, her laughter blending with the waves. Emily watched from the porch, arms wrapped around herself, unsure if she was shivering from the cold or from the feeling of finally being seen. That night, after Sophie fell asleep, she found Grant on the terrace with 2 glasses of wine. "I used to come here with my parents," he said, eyes distant, "before everything fell apart. And now I come here to breathe. But tonight feels different because of you. Under the moonlight, their kiss was hesitant, like a question, and yet when it deepened, it felt like an answer she'd been waiting years to hear. For the first time in a decade, Emily allowed herself to believe in more than survival. She believed in love. But happiness, it seemed, had an expiration date. 3 days after they returned to the city, Emily's phone buzzed. From Rachel. "You need to see this. Now." A link followed. Emily clicked. The headline hit like a slap across the face. Escort scandal, the billionaire, and the woman he bought. Underneath was a photo of Emily entering Veronica Blake's office. Another of her and Grant kissing under the stars at the beach house. The article painted her as a professional companion hired by Holloway for entertainment and now worming her way into his life. Her breath caught. Her knees buckled. She didn't have time to react before her phone rang. Grant. She didn't pick up. Rachel arrived moments later, out of breath, eyes wide. "You need to think before you speak to him. I have to explain, Emily, listen to me. These people don't play fair. If you say the wrong thing, they'll twist it. But it's not what they're saying." "I never," her voice broke. "I didn't sell myself. I did it for Sophie." That one night, in the corner office of Holloway Innovations, Grant stared at the same article, his expression unreadable. "Did you know?" he asked coldly as Charles Foster stepped in. "I just saw it too." Charles lied. "But the question is, did you know how she got to that gala? Who arranged it?" Grant said nothing, but inside the weight of old wounds returned. Betrayal. Lies. Could this be happening again? He canceled all meetings and locked himself in. Emily showed up unannounced. The staff stared. Whispers rippled. When she entered his office, his back was to her. "I didn't lie about why I came to that gala," she said quietly. "I lied about how desperate I was." He turned. His eyes were colder than she had ever seen. "So it's true. The escort service. The arrangement." "Yes. One night. That's all it was supposed to be." "Then what was everything else? The job, the kisses, the beach reel? To me? To Sophie? Was it not to you, Silence? Say something. I don't know what to believe anymore." Her heart broke then, not in a dramatic crashing way, but in the quiet snap of something sacred inside her. "I understand," she whispered. "Sophie's surgery is next week. After that, you'll never see me again." She left without looking back. And Grant. He didn't stop her. I hate to pause the story at this painful moment, but I promise the storm has only just begun. Let me ask you, do you think Grant should have trusted Emily, despite the scandal? And if you were in Emily's shoes, would you walk away or fight for love? Tell me, what country are you watching from today? And if this story moved you even a little, please hit that heart and give this video a like. Your support means the world. The world didn't end after Emily walked out of Grant's office, but for days it felt like it had. She didn't cry. Not in front of Sophie, who was recovering from surgery with that same determined smile, nor at night when the apartment was finally quiet. She just worked. She stitched in silence, poured herself into fabric, turned her pain into patterns. If she couldn't mend her heart, she'd mend the seams of others. With part of her severance pay, she rented a tiny storefront in Soho and opened a modest boutique, Braveheart Couture. The name came from a whisper she had once said to Sophie after a particularly rough hospital visit. "It takes a brave heart to keep going when everything hurts." Now, it wasn't just a mantra, it was a brand. The store grew slowly. One client told another. A fashion blogger stumbled in, then posted. A silent investor, Veronica Blake of all people, offered to help expand, not with pity, but with respect. "You survived the kind of story that would crush most people," she said. "Now build something no one can take away." Meanwhile, Grant Holloway was a storm beneath a calm suit. He closed the biggest tech merger of the decade and felt nothing. The champagne tasted flat. The success rang hollow. The nights were long, the penthouse too quiet. He missed Sophie's questions, Emily's laugh, the smell of her perfume lingering in the hallway. It wasn't until Claire, his sister, cornered him one evening that everything cracked. "You're not fine," she said. "And I know you didn't fire her because of the article. You fired her because you were scared she'd leave you first. She lied to me, Claire. She told you the truth when it mattered. Isn't that the part that counts?" She threw a folder on the table. "Also the article, it was leaked. by Charles Foster. David found the emails. The blood drained from Grant's face. By morning, Charles was out of the company, his betrayal exposed. But cleaning house didn't clean Grant's heart. So he did something he'd never done before. He humbled himself. He built something real. He created the Brave Hearts Foundation, dedicated to children with congenital heart disease. Inspired by Sophie, fueled by everything Emily had taught him. But he never reached out to her. Not yet. He wanted to show, not tell. Prove he had changed. A year passed. Then came the foundation's biggest night at charity gala at the Four Seasons. The guest of honor, a rising fashion designer from Soho, whose pieces had caught the eye of high-end buyers. Emily arrived with Sophie, now 9, healthy and vibrant, dressed in one of her mother's newest creations. The room buzzed with elegance, but nothing prepared her for the moment. Teresa, now the director of the foundation, walked on stage and said, "Tonight we celebrate not just generosity, but transformation. Our mission was inspired by one brave little girl and one extraordinary woman whose courage shaped this very cause. Please welcome Emily Bennett." Emily froze, and then a voice behind her. "You look beautiful," Grant said softly. She turned, her heart flipped in her chest. He stood there in a navy suit holding a bouquet of wildflowers, her favorite. "This whole night, it's for you," he said. "You lied," she whispered. "You planned all this and didn't say a word. I had to earn the right to speak." She stared at him, heart thundering. "I was wrong, Emily. I let fear win. I let my past poison the best thing I ever had. And now I'm just a man standing in front of the woman who saved him, asking for a second chance." The lights dimmed. Her name echoed through the ballroom. Emily stepped on stage with trembling hands. As her designs walked the runway, the crowd applauded. But her eyes were on Grant the entire time. At the end of the show, he joined her on stage. In honor of everything Emily Bennett stands for, he announced the Brave Hearts Foundation is launching the Bennett Scholarship to support young designers from underprivileged backgrounds. Gasps and applause filled the room. And then he knelt. "Emily, will you build this brave life with me for good?" Tears blurred her vision. She nodded. "Yes, 1,000 times, yes." 5 years later, their garden in Connecticut overflowed with flowers and laughter. Sophie, now a teen with ambition in her eyes, sketched dresses beside her twin siblings. Emily ran a global fashion line. Grant headed a company with real purpose, and the world knew their story not as a scandal, but as a triumph. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked one night, brushing her hair back as they watched the stars. "No," she said. "The hardest night of my life became the beginning of everything beautiful." Now let me ask you, do you believe people deserve second chances when they truly change? What part of this story touched you the most? We'd love to hear where you're watching from. Tell us your country in the comments. And if this story warmed your heart, please tap the heart and share the video with someone who needs to believe in hope again. If you love this story, comment number 3 below. If it felt just okay, comment number 2. And if it didn't quite connect with you, comment number 1. We value your voice.